Yo, what's up everybody, it's Tech Trek back again with another video, and today we're diving deep into Apple's latest and potentially greatest iOS 18.4. This might just be the most significant update we've seen in the entire iOS 18 cycle, packed with new features and refinements. We're gonna break down everything new, from the enhanced Apple Intelligence features to the subtle but impactful changes in Photos and CarPlay, and help you decide if hitting that update button right now is the right move. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on the latest tech insights. Let's get started. Alright, let's kick things off with a feature that has the potential to be a game changer for a lot of you. Priority notifications. This is Apple Intelligence, stepping up its game, using on-device learning to figure out which notifications actually matter to you. It learns your behavior over time, analyzing which notifications you tend to interact with first, and then prioritizing similar ones in the future. That means the more you use it, the better it gets at filtering out the noise and making sure you see what's important. iOS 18.4 is also expanding language support for Apple Intelligence, bringing it to 8 additional languages and 2 more English locales. Oh, and did I mention the new sketch style and image playground? You can now create some seriously cool sketch-style drawings just by using simple prompts. The AI-generated art capabilities are getting ridiculously good. Now let's talk about something that's music to my ears, literally. iOS 18.4 introduces ambient music, giving you instant access to curated soundtracks designed specifically for different moments. Just swipe open Control Center, tap on ambient music, and boom, you've got the perfect sonic backdrop for whatever you're doing. It's all about reducing friction and making the music experience as seamless as possible. Safari is getting some much-needed love with the addition of recent search suggestions, making it easier to jump back to previous searches. Podcast lovers, rejoice. iOS 18.4 is bringing some handy new widgets to the table. There's a followed shows widget that lets you keep track of all your favorite podcasts in one place, and a library widget for quick access to your most used sections. It's a full-on media experience. For all you Apple News Plus subscribers out there, iOS 18.4 is serving up a major content expansion, and this time, it's all about food. We're talking recipes from some of the most renowned recipe publishers out there, all curated and organized in a beautiful new recipe catalog. You can browse by cuisine, dietary restrictions, or even specific ingredients. Found something you like? Just save it to your saved recipes collection for easy access later. When you're ready to start cooking, iOS 18.4 has a dedicated cooking mode that displays those recipes in a step-by-step format, making it super easy to follow along without getting your phone all messy. The food section in Apple News Plus is also getting beefed up with stories about restaurants, kitchen tips, and healthy eating. Now let's move on to the Photos app, which is getting some subtle but significant improvements in iOS 18.4. You can now filter your photos to show or hide items that aren't in albums or synced from a Mac or PC. This is great for decluttering your library and focusing on the photos that matter most. These might seem like small changes, but they add up to a much more organized and personalized Photos experience. Alright drivers, listen up because CarPlay is getting some love in iOS 18.4. If you have a vehicle with a larger infotainment screen, you'll notice that the home screen now displays 3 rows of app icons instead of 2. This means you can access more of your favorite apps at a glance without having to swipe through multiple pages. Sports fans, rejoice. Apple has added a new API that allows sports apps to display live scores directly on the Now Playing interface. And for our friends in the European Union, iOS 18.4 introduces the ability to set a default navigation app for both your iPhone and CarPlay. This gives you more control over which mapping service you prefer to use, whether it's Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, or something else entirely. Of course, it wouldn't be an iOS update without some fresh new emoji, right? iOS 18.4 adds 7 new characters to your keyboard. So we've covered all the major new features and improvements in iOS 18.4. But the big question remains, is this truly the last major update before iOS 19 takes center stage? Well, not quite. According to multiple sources, Apple might surprise us with an iOS 18.5 release before the beta cycle for iOS 19 kicks off this summer at WWDC 2025. However, iOS 18.4 is likely the last update in this cycle that's jam-packed with significant new features. Any future updates before iOS 19 will probably focus primarily on bug fixes, performance enhancements, and security improvements. So, while iOS 18.4 might not be the absolute final update of the iOS 18 era, it's almost certainly the last one that adds meaningful new features before the big redesign drops this fall. So, should you hit that update button and make the jump to iOS 18.4? If you're rocking an iPhone that supports Apple Intelligence, that's any iPhone 16 model, iPhone 15 Pro, or iPhone 15 Pro Max, then my answer is a resounding yes. The priority notifications feature alone is worth the upgrade, and the expanded language support makes it even more compelling. But even if you're not using one of the latest and greatest iPhones, iOS 18.4 is still a solid update with a ton of quality of life improvements across the board. We're talking about refinements to Photos, Apple News, CarPlay, and more. Plus, you get all the usual security enhancements that come with every iOS update, which is always a good thing. The update is available for all iPhone models that support iOS 18. So, there you have it, a deep dive into iOS 18.4, the last big hurrah before iOS 19 takes the stage. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What feature are you most excited about in iOS 18.4? And what are your hopes and dreams for the iOS 19 redesign? Drop your comments down below, let's get a conversation going. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you found it helpful, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more Apple news, reviews, and tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.